Hello guys, Termex here. It's another week of Wonderlands DLC, and you know I gotta make my video on it and how I think about things, because at this point my rant videos are just as long as the DLCs themselves. With Wonderlands, seeing what they're doing and seeing the massive improvement with DLC 3 in comparison to DLC 2 and 1, it really solidifies in my head that Wonderlands was just way too soon. Wonderlands came out way too early in my opinion, and it's just becoming way more and more apparent. I mean, everything that Wonderlands is doing is just straight up either questionable and or lazy. And no, I'm not being rude to the developers saying that they're lazy for making the game the way it is, but the new DLC items, almost half of them are complete reskins from previous games, or the weapon skins themselves are not even new. They're just generic purple weapon skins from Borderlands 3. But I'm happy that PLC 3 was indeed better. I would be lying if I said it wasn't, because when I played it, I genuinely enjoyed myself and enjoyed the final boss, and it was a drastic improvement from the previous other DLCs. But it still wasn't the DLC we're looking for. And by that, I mean it's not a story DLC. But yes, once we wait those 3 weeks, we finally get the hardest version of the boss to do the same exact thing over and over again and add new weapons. It's a very weird cycle that Wonderlands is trying to do, considering it doesn't call itself an online service game. I just feel like they're trying to pertain to that formula, but they're just doing it completely wrong. But going into why Wonderlands should not have been released, we've been having a bunch of different events and constant bug fixes with Borderlands 3 while Wonderlands has still been going. So Borderlands 3 could have easily gotten more events, maybe a few little content drops, maybe a headhunter or two, maybe cool little packs like a 4th of July event with like a firework DLC with Hammerlock, I don't know. Some small creative things like that to hold us over for another year, because if Wonderlands came out in 2023, I don't think we would have an issue, because the game would be substantially better and overall not hated by the masses. I mean, Wonderlands ended up killing its entire player base within a matter of what, 3-4 months? I mean, you know it's bad when Battlefield on Twitch gets more concurrent viewers than Wonderlands, and Battlefield was probably one of the biggest flops in gaming history. It just lets you know that Wonderlands, me saying Wonderlands flopped isn't just YouTuber trying to bash on Gearbox. It's statistically proven that this game is pretty much dead in the water. Sure, you have bigger YouTubers posting about it and getting views because that's where the views are. You have more people on YouTube looking for guides and actual players, and it's really weird because it just came to Steam, and Steam is already getting review bombed because of how bad it is. You know it's bad that people are willing to take time and money to buy the game they don't like and then review bomb it on Steam to get a point across. Sure, you could call it toxic. Sure, you could say, oh, well, if they didn't really like it, why'd they buy it? People are very vocal about this. You're taking a Borderlands community of people that are truly passionate about the game and the series, and it almost feels like we're being completely ignored. It feels like all the bigger YouTubers and even fellow content creators of my size are constantly speaking out about this. Hell, this is like my 4th video talking about this game and its issues. It's what I like to do. I always made videos in order to entertain, in order to teach people. If you click on my video and you learn something, I did my job as a content creator. But with Wonderlands, I cannot do said job unless you want me to do the same cookie cutter thing that every creator is going to be basically forced to do. Every time you release a PLC, all you're opening the doors for is, oh, new guns that everyone's going to try out, maybe make a build out of it where they use the same exact gear from a month before and add in the new weapon and call it a brand new build. Or I'm going to review the weapons and then tell you about how good or bad they are. I mean, it's such a oversaturated thing. I would love if they added this new content on top of actual things to do, because then I would have an excuse to make a build and change up a bunch of things, find a new meta to do certain content. But no, it seems that every time this happens, it's always the same thing. And I know gaming companies shouldn't make updates or make content drops to appeal to the content creators. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying, from a content creator's perspective, Wonderlands doesn't please me in any way. It doesn't motivate me to make a build, because I could put hours, hundreds of hours into farming a build to post on YouTube, and what gain does that give my viewers? You guys are going to use the build. Maybe for some of you that are behind, you might have fun and be like, all right, I'm going to work towards this. but 98% of you have your endgame build already, or you haven't even hit the endgame because the Chaos Chamber progression is so incredibly boring that you never even made it to that point, so you would even click on the build video in the first place. And that brings me back to the subject that the core mechanics of this game are so severely flawed. And after players got mad from the Chaos 20 to Chaos 35 jump, who thought it was a smart idea to jump from 35 to 50 after you heard so many people complain about it? It makes absolute zero sense that you would go forward with making Chaos 50, making somebody do Chaos Chambers 50 times just so they can start the end game. 50 freaking times. On average, if you're a casual player, a Chaos run takes about 20 minutes. So you're telling me to invest multiple hours in the Chaos Chamber, and granted, you might not even make it all the way through, because you have to farm gear in between, get stronger things so you don't get shit on by the bosses, make sure you pick the most boring modifiers so you can skip it as soon as possible, completely ignoring the difficulty in the crystal farming, because why would you do the hard version when you just need to get to Chaos 50 in the first place? It's just such a flawed gameplay loop and system that I don't blame players for stopping at Chaos 20 or stopping at 35. Hell, I don't want to go to Chaos 50 myself, and I make content for the freaking game, and I have no urge to do so. But in the same aspect, I can't be 100% mad. Sure, they want players to play the game longer, but at least give us a reasoning to. You want us to do the same exact Chaos Chambers 50 times minimum, not including the Barf Bunny farms you want us to do for perfect gear, not including doing the secret rooms for raid bosses that don't always spawn. You want us to... You just want the game to be Chaos Chamber, and Borderlands trying to appeal to this MMO style of endgame is very weird because it doesn't even suit the game itself. And another big caveat I want to touch on is... They recently added the Face Puncher with Wonderlands DLC 3. If you don't know what the Face Puncher is, it was a melee shooting shotgun from Borderlands 3, and they added it to Wonderlands. And I need to pause the game while I talk about this. Why would you tell your developers to spend hundreds of hours into developing a melee mechanic system, giving melee lunge, melee perks, melee gear, melee stats, different melee swing speeds, all these cool melee perks within the melee weapons themselves, just for you to add the gun back that shoots melee, ruining the whole gameplay loop of swing your sword to feel like a badass melee warrior. You just added a gun that can shoot melee, get gun benefits and melee benefits because you know it's going to be stronger than your traditional melee, basically making melee useless because now you could shoot it and get gun damage benefits. So what was the plan there? What was the plan, just to get the game to be the same as Borderlands 3? Because if you're looking to evolve your franchise and make the game better, why the hell are you trying to make it like the other game? Borderlands 3 and Borderlands 2 are drastically different, and arguably Borderlands 3 did amazing in terms of sales, and it's a great game right now. Borderlands 3 is in a fantastic spot for a looter shooter, and if you're a new player hopping in, you easily have 500 hours to sink into this game. Even if you play a single character, you easily have 500 hours to put into Borderlands 3. I just don't understand, why would you kill off the very unique mechanic of Wonderlands and trade it for a gun? But on to the next topic of why this game really should have been delayed, and I want to put it into your guys' perspective as the viewers. You watching this right now, I want to ask you. This is a serious question aimed towards you guys, not looking for comments, not looking for fishing for replies. If it launched in January of 2023, with all 4 mirrors as base game content, with selectable difficulties already unlocked, and then you knew there was 4 story campaigns and a DLC character coming in the future, would you have a different outlook on the Wonderlands game as a whole? Now, because I know you can't tell me when you reply, just whatever timestamp I just said that is, put that at the beginning of your comments so I know that you're replying to this and not like someone else. But I want to know, does that change your outlook on Wonderlands if it came out like that? And would you be mad that it got delayed a year? Or maybe even more? But the way Wonderlands is handling the criticism of players and content creators alike, constantly telling them there's issues, this isn't what we want, this makes no sense, don't add this, why is this a thing? And there's not even a response. That we're not even getting response. Sure, maybe we're getting responses behind the scenes. I guarantee you partnered creators probably have responses behind the scenes, but they can't let the general public know. And that's no shade to the sponsored creators whatsoever. I'm good friends with 90% of them, and I get that it's a job at the end of the day, but I wish there was more transparency with 2K and Wonderlands in general, so your average Joe on Twitter can get a response to why this game is in a bad spot. Not even any Twitter things, not anything from dev blogs or patch notes addressing a lot of these things. They just seem to fix it and then give a weird reasoning to why they fixed it and then fuck something else up. In most successful games in the gaming industry, take advice and ideas from the community. That's how some of the best games and best performing games right now are actually still alive, because they listen to the community. Hell, Warframe used to be a pretty shit game until they started listening to the community. Now they're kind of off track with that again in terms of content. I'm not going to get into all that. But you notice when games don't listen to their player base, people leave. It's pretty freaking simple that people will leave. You can make Wonderlands a perfect game tomorrow morning, and the general casual audience won't come back. Maybe the hardcore player base will, but first impressions are a big thing. And if you don't believe me, Fallout 76 is a prime example. That game launched complete ass, biggest flop in gaming history, people said. It was never fun, bunch of bugs, false promises, and then 2 years later, when they got their shit together, it's arguably one of the best survival games on the market, but who cares? Who would play it after what it's been through? It's old, outdated, no one wants to play it. You know what I mean? Wonderlands is going to receive that treatment, and it's sad. It's truly sad that this game with so much potential is going to receive such a harsh treatment simply for being a rushed title. And yes, I will say it's a rushed title. They went gold 2 weeks prior to release. 2 weeks. That means they just finished the game 2 weeks prior. For perspective, most games finish months in advance, and then they start working on bugs. Hell, there's still a bank bug that is in the game that has been reported over and over and over again by so many players, and it still exists. You know, when you open your bank and it keeps flickering, or your inventory just goes completely blank and you can't see what your guns are, or your gear is labeled something that it's not? Yeah, that's still a bug. I know, it's crazy that that's still a bug after almost 3 months. So yeah, that's the rant. This video, my recording's 20 minutes. I'll probably make another video here in a few days talking about some other things. Yeah, I'm gonna keep up with this sort of content. I love talking about the game, and maybe one day a Gearbox dev will come across my channel and watch my videos and maybe take a second glance at decisions they're making. I know that's wishful. I know that's like the prayer of all prayers, and it probably won't ever happen, but I'm gonna do it as if it's a possibility. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, it would mean a lot if you hit the like button down below, as it spreads my content more out to the Wonderlands and Borderlands community. And make sure you subscribe so you'll never miss out on another video from me. But you have a terrific day, and I'll see you guys later.